In the first video in this module, you learned all about the Canvas quiz settings. In this video, you will learn about adding different question types to a Canvas quiz. Remember, in order to access your Canvas quizzes, select Quizzes from the navigation menu on the left side of the screen. When you select Quizzes, all quizzes that are in your course will appear. To add a new quiz, click on Plus Quiz in the top right-hand corner. Remember, the first thing that loads is going to be the Canvas quiz details. This is where you type your quiz directions and change the settings. To add questions, click on the Questions tab. Here, you will select Add New Question. Canvas quizzes will always default to multiple choice questions. However, you have several different options of quiz types. You can do true, false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answer, multiple dropdowns, matching, numerical answers, formula questions, essay questions, file upload questions, and then just a text where there's really no question. You're just giving students information. All questions will be auto-scored by Canvas with the exception of the essay question and the file upload question. Let's get started in adding some questions to this quiz. If you want to label your questions with standards, or if you just want to maybe call this a multiple choice question, you can label each question that you add to your quiz. You also can change the point value over here. So if each question needs to be worth a certain value, you can change that right here. Notice I have the rich content editor, so I can add any type of text I want to my content block here, or if I want to add pictures or want to record myself, want to add a document, if I want to add a table, an equation, or other external tools, I can certainly do so. To make this easy though, I'm just going to type a question. What is the sum of 3 and 4 as our first multiple choice question? This is where I type my question. Below is where I will select my answer choices. Now I'm going to go ahead and type the answer as 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if I just left this as is, then students that selected 5 would get scored correctly. We know that the sum of 3 and 4 is not 5. The correct answer is 7. So I need to click on the arrow next to where I have typed in 7 as the possible answer. If I want to give more information or more feedback to my students and explain why 7 is the correct answer or why 6 is the incorrect answer, I can click on this little box below there and be presented with the rich content editor to explain exactly why the sum of 3 and 4 is 7. If I want to add that, I would type it here and select Done. After you have your question the way you want it, you're going to simply select Update Question to move on. Next, we're going to add a true-false question. To do this, I'm going to click on New Question, and from the drop-down menu, select True-False. All right, I'm going to type my text. Canvas will auto-grade most questions in Canvas quizzes. All right, so there's my true-false. So the answer is true. I'm going to leave my arrow on the true. And again, I could give more feedback if I want to. I'm going to leave it as true, and I'm going to select Update Question. I'm going to click on New Question. The next question I'm going to do is fill in the blank. Here's where I'm going to type my question. Canvas is considered a blank. So on the fill in the blank questions, what I'm going to select down here is what answers I am going to select as being scored correctly. So it is a learning management system. So I will select, or I will allow that to be scored correctly. let's see, if there is another answer, I'm going to say LMS, stands for Learning Management System, I would put those answers in there. If there was any other options that I would accept as a correct response, I would select add another answer here, and I could type that in. But I don't want to accept another answer, so I'm going to trash that one. This is not case sensitive, so if a student typed in Learning Management System with no capital L, M, or S on there, they would still get that answer correct. So I'm going to go ahead and update question and select new question. The next question that I'm going to show you is to do multiple blanks. We're going to use Canvas's example here. I'm just going to copy this right here and paste it. So what this question or students will be presented with is roses are, and they'll have to type in what the first color option is. And then they'll also have to type in the second color option. So to create these questions, you will put brackets around where you want that blank to be. So in this case, roses are color 1, and then violets are color 2. Now down here is where I'm going to say what answers I will select as being correct options. So the only choices that I'm going to select for color 1, they're all allowed to be scored correctly, is going to be red. And then I'm going to use my drop down for color 2. The only answer that I'm going to allow for it to be scored correctly is to type the word blue. Now again, if you had other options that you would be able to accept as correct answers, then you could type them in here. But I'm going to go ahead and trash that. So when students see this question, they will have a blank here, and they will have to type in what the correct answer is for each of those words in brackets. So I'm going to go ahead and update my question, add a new question. I'm going to select multiple answers. So this type of question, it's like a checkbox where students can select many answers. So for this one, I'm going to say what multimedia can be added into a Canvas quiz question. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add some answers. We're going to say a picture. I'm going to go ahead and add another possible answer. We'll say video. So that is correct. That is correct. Let's say document. That is correct. And let's say a link. You can add a link. So we'll just leave them all as correct answers. So students will have to select every single one of these options in order to get full credit for this particular question. So I'm going to go ahead and update my question here. And I'm going to add a new question. All right, the next type is going to be multiple drop downs. We're going to go back and we're going to use the roses are red, violets are blue. I'm going to paste that right in here. Now the difference between the multiple drop down and the multiple blanks is students will have to select from the drop downs where this color 1 is. They will be presented with a drop down menu. They will have to select from the drop down menu the correct option. So here I'm going to say red and blue for color 1. We know that roses are red, so I'm going to leave the correct answer as red. I'm not going to select blue as a possible answer, not until I get to color 2, where I'm going to say red and blue, and my correct answer is going to be blue. So when students see this question, again, they'll have that drop-down menu where they'll select which answer goes for each of these color types. I'm going to update my question, and I'm going to move on to my next question type. Matching. All right, for this one, we're going to say match the historical figure on the left with their title on the right, period. Okay, so here we have our options, and I have 3 historical figures that I'm going to match. So I'm going to say George Washington, typing in George Washington, and we're going to do Sir Isaac Newton. And finally, let's say Elvis Presley. All right, so we're going to call George Washington the father of our nation. We're going to call him the father of modern physics. And then we're going to call Elvis Presley the father of rock and roll. So now I have all my answer choices. I'm going to click on Update Question. Students will be presented with each of those, and they will have to match those questions together. Next item, new question. We're going to do a numerical answer. All right, so again, I'm presented with the rich content editor. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use the equation editor. So I'm going to click these 3 dots, and I'm going to click on this icon right here, and you'll be presented with the equation editor. I'm just going to make this a very simple 10 divided by 3 equals, and I'll put a question mark, insert equation. So below, I have some options where I can select I want it to be an exact answer, answer in a range, or answer with precision. In this case, I'm going to do an answer within a range, and I will accept the answer of 3.3 as being correct to 3.4. So any answer between 3.3 and 3.4 will be scored as correct for this particular question. So there's lots of things that you can do with the equation editor and also with the numerical question just to keep it simple. This was the example, but those of you that teach higher level math and science can figure out multiple uses for the numerical answer question type. I'm going to go ahead and update my question, add a new question, and the next one we're going to do is a formula question. All right, so it's going to tell you down here how you can generate and build formulas. I'm going to show you and make it pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select or type in an a formula. So I'm going to type in using my brackets to identify the variables, x plus bracket y equals, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click outside of this content block. Okay, so that way it will identify the variables. So what this question type is going to do is it's going to present students with a variety of questions. So for example, down here, I can say that I want my x variable to have a range between, let's go ahead and change this to 50 to 100. And then down here, I want my y variable to be, let's say 100 to 150. And this is going to be important because I'm going to go ahead and recompute it in just a moment. So we're going to look at these numbers in just a moment. Now down here is where you're going to actually type in the formula. You don't need to use those brackets. So we're simply going to say x plus y, and I don't need to have my equal sign. I'm going to click on save. Now I'm going to take and just make sure that my formula is correct. Is 63 as my x variable plus my y variable of 145 equal 208? And yes, it does. So now I want to offer, let's say, 50 different variations of that formula. And we're going to just leave that as a zero margin of error. So that means that there are 50 different possibilities using these variable of range of numbers from 50 to 100 for my x variable and 100 to 150 as my y variable that students could possibly see. And all students could get a different, be presented with a different formula, or not formula, but different numbers, variables. So when I have that the way I want it, I'm going to click on Update Question. And it says, please generate at least one possible solution. So I need to, down here, I need to generate those. You need to hit generate that. We're going to leave that margin of error as 0 for this example. And there's all the different possible options that students could get. Now I can update my question and move on. So the next two question types are going to be the ones that will have to be graded by the instructor. And that is going to be an essay question where you will give the students the information and they will be presented with a text entry box where they can type their answer. So here's where you could say, what are some things you like about Canvas? And update question. And then the last question type is going to be a file upload, where you can say upload favorite animal. Okay, so students will have to actually upload a document picture to get credit for that particular question. So I'm going to go ahead and update question. There is one more option, and that's going to be for a text question. That's where it will just basically, like I said before, give your students some just like text. Maybe you want to say, read your book after you finish the quiz. Just a little bit more information for your students. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. All right, so we now have added all different question types that are possible in a Canvas quiz. So let's go ahead and save this quiz, and we're going to view it in student view, just so we can see what it looks like from the student's perspective. Well, actually, we'll go ahead and preview it here. All right, so here's what it looks like. So here's the multiple, or the blanks, and the multiple blanks. And here's the drop downs where they would actually select the correct answers. Here's the matching. Here's the numerical question, the formula question. Here's the essay. Here's where they can upload a file. And then this final question is where was the text question where you could just give them further information. So I know this is a long video, but this is exactly how you will add various question types to Canvas quizzes. If you have any questions on adding different question types, the next item in this module will have a link to different documents that will help you with answering all those questions that you might have about adding content to Canvas quizzes.